This is Fenella the Tiny Unicorn by Alicia Ainsley. Have you ever seen a unicorn for yourself? If you have, then you can count yourself as one of the fortunate ones. Unicorns are beautiful, magical animals that live in the heart of mystical lands, such as Sleepy Forest. Unicorns look just like horses, except they have a range of unique characteristics that set them apart from the horses we see in our countryside fields. For a start, unicorns are much bigger than the horses we see every day. Unicorns are so large and majestic that they can carry the likes of bears and lions around on their backs if they so wish. Unicorns love showing off how strong they are by giving lifts to other creatures. They are sort of like the personal taxis of the mystical kingdom. They can run at almost lightning speeds with their long, muscly legs and get to go wherever they need to be in next to no time. Unicorns do not have boring coats. In fact, unicorns come in all the colours of the rainbow. You might see a bright pink unicorn chatting to a sunny yellow unicorn whilst relaxing by a lake. Or you might even spot a midnight blue unicorn racing with an emerald green unicorn through the forest. Yep, unicorns really stand out from the crowd. Some unicorns have wings and can fly through the sky, but most of them remain on the ground. Their long tails can also come in all sorts of shimmering colours. The really lucky ones have multicoloured tails, but all are equally beautiful. But the main way that you can identify a unicorn from the rest of the four-legged animals of our world is by spotting their impressive horns. All unicorns have a long, majestic horn that pokes out of their forehead. A unicorn's magic is held within their horn, which is why their horns sparkle and shimmer with enchanted light. Unicorn horns can grow in all sorts of shapes and sizes. They start off being teeny tiny when a unicorn is born. But as they grow bigger and bigger, their horn grows bigger and bigger too. Some unicorns have twirly horns, some have straight and narrow ones, and others have horns that spiral and coil up into a point. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and colours too. Unicorns possess lots of magical powers. Along with their super speed and great strength, they provide good luck and fortune to everyone they meet. And they also have healing powers. If you fell over and scraped your knee, then a unicorn could magically make your knee as good as new again. Or if you had a bad cough, a unicorn could magically make it disappear. Because of their healing powers, the unicorns regularly travel around spreading their good luck and healing powers to as many people as possible. Unicorns are very special creatures. When a new child is born into the world becomes a better place. Children are full of so much love and magic that they make the sun shine that little bit brighter. The plants grow a little bit taller and make every living creature on the planet feel a little bit happier. So when Fenella the unicorn was born, the world became a better place just by her being in it. Fenella was born on a cool spring day on the outskirts of Sleepy Forest. Her parents were so excited to meet her for the first time and they invited all of their friends to meet her in the meadow where they lived. Everybody gathered around to meet the newborn unicorn and waited for Fenella to be revealed. Fenella's mother proudly introduced her baby to the group. Fenella was adorable, and everybody sighed with adoration at the sight of her. Fenella's coat was a soft pink colour, and she had a long, shiny, glittering silver tail. Her horn was rainbow-coloured and twirled to a pointed tip, just like ice cream on a cone. Fenella pranced about the feet of the towering grown-up unicorns excitedly. She hadn't seen so many of her kind before, and she was delighted to meet them all. "Isn't she a darling?" Althea, the purple unicorn, gushed, watching Fenella trot around. "Yes, she is," Noelani, the white unicorn, agreed, before adding, "But doesn't she seem a bit on the small side?" Fenella's mother was taken aback. She hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary about her newborn daughter. "She's a baby. Of course she's small," Fenella's mother defended her daughter. "She will grow up to be just as big as everybody else. Don't you worry." Baby Fenella gazed up at the tall and regal unicorns around her and smiled with glee. She couldn't wait to grow up and one day be as lofty and as impressive as everybody else. However, as the years passed, Fenella came to realize that things weren't going quite to plan. Instead of growing up to be large just like everybody else, Fenella was somehow remaining the same tiny size. She just didn't grow. While all the other children were getting taller every day, Fenella was staying the same miniature size. She was desperate to grow bigger so that she could carry out the same unicorn duties as everybody else. But due to her small size, she couldn't help out. She was too small to carry any of the forest animals on her back, and she was too slow to keep up with the other unicorns running their errands. She didn't possess enough healing magic within her to help out the large animals of Sleepy Forest, and she couldn't even pull the carts of fruit and supplies with the other unicorns because she wasn't strong enough. Fenella felt positively helpless. Fenella tried every way she could think of to make herself grow bigger. She ate extra portions at dinner. She did her stretches every day, and she wished on the stars every single night. But no matter how hard she wished or how much she tried, Fenella stayed the same tiny size. She was beginning to think that she wasn't destined to be a normal unicorn like everybody else. Fenella's mother didn't know what to do either. She tried feeding Fenella lots of vegetables to help her grow big and strong, but it didn't seem to be making much difference. She even tried using her healing powers on Fenella to help her bones grow bigger, but to no avail. It seemed that Fenella was destined to be a miniature unicorn forever. After years of trying and failing to grow bigger, Fenella and her mother decided that it was time to face the facts. Fenella was probably never going to be a large unicorn, so she had to accept herself for the pint-sized pony that she was. Fenella accepted this, but she was adamant that her small stature wouldn't hold her back any longer. She might not be able to do as much as the other unicorns, but she would do her best to keep up. One day, Fenella's friends, Zelda, Flynn, and Aslan, were heading toward Sleepy Forest to carry out their duties for the day. A tree that a family of birds lived in had fallen down in the middle of the forest. Zelda, Flynn, and Aslan had been instructed to push the tree back upright in time for nightfall, so that the birds could be back in their tree again in time for bed. Fenella followed her friends as they approached the entrance to Sleepy Forest at the edge of their meadow. For every long step that they took, Fenella had to take 4 tiny fast steps just to keep up. "Can I come with you and help?" Fenella pleaded with her friends. Zelda sighed and replied, "We would love for you to come, Fenella, but you won't be able to keep up with us. We only have a limited amount of time to fix the tree, and it's all the way in the middle of Sleepy Forest. We will have to run there, and you won't be able to keep up with us." Despite Zelda's rational explanation, Fenella was still determined to join her friends. "Please," Fenella begged. "I'll try and keep up, I promise. And if I can't keep up, then you can just go on without me. I won't be annoyed." Zelda, Flynn, and Aslan all looked at each other for support. They didn't want to leave their friend behind, but they also had an important task on their hoofs. Eventually, they gave in to Fenella's request. "Okay, Fenella, you can come with us," Flynn appeased her. "But we can't wait for you, so you'll have to keep up with our pace." Fenella leapt for joy. She was delighted to get to join her friends on a mission. Her rainbow horn began to gleam with bright, multicolored light. Her horn always did that when she was happy. "Okay then, let's go," Fenella commanded, leading the way into Sleepy Forest. At first, Fenella did well to keep up with her friends as they trotted off into the depths of the forest. She was lagging behind a little, but she could still see her friends clearly as they darted in and out of all the trees. But after some time, Fenella found herself growing weary, and her little legs couldn't take it much longer. "Keep up, Fenella," Aslan called out from far ahead. But Aslan's voice quickly faded out as he, Zelda, and Flynn zoomed off further into the forest, leaving Fenella behind, gasping for breath. Fenella decided to rest by a tree and catch her breath. She had done very well to keep up this far, but she had to admit defeat. Fenella just wasn't built in the same way as her friends, so she couldn't do the same things that they could. Fenella was beginning to wonder if she would ever be good enough to do anything to help others. Fenella took a deep breath and slowly sighed. She felt much better now that she had stopped for a break. When she was ready, she would make her way back out of Sleepy Forest and enjoy a leisurely stroll. Fenella preferred to take things slow anyway. It meant that she could take the time to appreciate everything around her more. She would feel much better once she was back in the meadow again. Once Fenella's heartbeat had slowed down, she stood back up and began her journey through Sleepy Forest, back to the meadow. As she plodded along, she gazed at all of the giant trees that soared all the way up to the sky, and listened to the birds singing in the trees and the owls hooting in their nests. She admired the beautiful beds of flowers down on her level and stooped to smell the lilies. They smelt delightful. Fenella closed her eyes and took a deep sniff of the flowers. All of a sudden, she felt something tickle the end of her nose. She opened her eyes and was amused to see a little bumblebee had landed there. "Oh, hello," Fenella greeted the fuzzy little bumblebee. The bumblebee waved its teeny hand at her and tucked its wings in lazily. "I'm sorry if I've disturbed you," the bumblebee responded. "I'm just so tired from buzzing around all day, and your nose looked like the perfect place to stop and rest for a while." Fenella giggled at the bumblebee's unexpected arrival. "It's all right," she replied. "You're very welcome to rest on me if you're tired." The bumblebee thanked Fenella and introduced herself. The bumblebee was called Babs, and Fenella could see that Babs was carrying around 2 big bags of pollen on the back of her legs. "They must be pretty heavy for such a little bug," Fenella thought to herself. "Where do you live?" Fenella asked the weary bug. Babs the bumblebee explained that she lived in a hive with all the rest of her family and friends, not too far away. "Would you like me to give you a lift home?" Fenella offered kindly. "Oh, yes, please," Babs replied gratefully. "I'm so tired. I don't think I could carry all of this pollen back to the hive by myself." Fenella stood up, tall and proud, and asked Babs to guide the way back to her hive. Babs remained perched on the tip of Fenella's nose and led the way for Fenella to take her home. Fenella felt giddy. This was the first time that she had ever given a lift to another creature. She was far too small to carry the animals that the rest of the unicorns regularly taxied around. But Babs the bumblebee was the perfect size for Fenella to carry with ease. Fenella carried Babs all the way home to her hive. "Thank you very much, Fenella," Babs said gratefully as she gazed up at her hive in the tree. "I'm glad I bumped into a unicorn today. You guys are always so helpful." Fenella sighed and bowed her head in embarrassment. "I'm not a very good unicorn," Fenella admitted disappointedly. "I'm too small to carry anyone around or help out. I just get in the way." Babs looked into Fenella's eyes and frowned. "I don't believe that for a second," Babs commented. "You are clearly a very good unicorn. Everybody forgets about creatures like me because we're so small. But we need help, just like the bigger animals. You just helped me out when I was in need. I think that makes you an excellent unicorn, just like all the others." Fenella smiled, and her heart lit up with hope. Perhaps she could be useful after all. Just because she wasn't big enough to help the larger animals of the forest, that didn't mean that she couldn't help out the small ones instead. Babs the bumblebee said goodbye to Fenella and then flew away up to her beehive, carrying her heavy bags of pollen at her sides. When she landed at the door to the hive, she turned around one last time and waved to Fenella before disappearing inside. Fenella paused for a few moments and thought about what Babs had said. If the bigger unicorns were focusing on helping all the large animals, maybe they couldn't see that the small ones needed help too. Maybe Fenella could be the helping hand that the smaller animals needed. Fenella wandered around the forest in search of other small animals. She passed a lion called Leo, but he was far too big for Fenella to carry. She also met a bear named Lana, who had stubbed her toe on a log, but she was too big for Fenella to help out too. Fenella was struggling to find any other animal. They must either be hiding or too tiny to spot. Then, just as Fenella had almost given up hope, she heard a wheezy squeak come from inside a bush. "Hello? Is anyone there?" Fenella called out into the thick bush. She heard the wheezy squeak again and saw the leaves begin to rustle. A little hedgehog emerged from the bottom of the bush, coughing and spluttering, and holding a handkerchief in its hand. "Don't come too close," the hedgehog sniffed. "I've got a cold, and I don't want you to catch it." The hedgehog appeared to be really struggling with his bad cough and runny nose. The hedgehog held his handkerchief and blew his nose as hard as he could. So hard, in fact, that his whole body shuddered with the blustering pressure. This was a perfect opportunity for Fenella to test out her healing powers. She had never been able to heal another animal before, on the account of them all being too large. But surely her magic would be enough to help out this little hedgehog. Fenella closed her eyes and focused. Her rainbow horn began to glitter and shine with magical light. Then the little hedgehog started to magically glow too. "What is happening?" the hedgehog croaked before letting out a long cough. Fenella felt all warm and fuzzy inside. She felt the magic flow through her and out of the tip of her horn. When she opened her eyes, she saw that the hedgehog was standing still in amazement. His nose was no longer blocked and runny, and his voice was no longer croaky and hoarse, with not a single cough in sight. "Wow!" the hedgehog gasped. "You healed my cold? I didn't think that unicorns helped small animals like us." Fenella laughed charmingly. "We help all animals, big or small," she replied. The hedgehog was very grateful for her healing help and offered her his snotty hanky as a gesture of thanks. She politely declined the offer and wandered back off through Sleepy Forest in search of more small creatures to assist. She bumped into a slithering snail who was on his way to a party. "I'm late," the snow-paced snail cried with dismay. "I'm going to miss playing pass the parcel." Fenella offered to give the snail a lift on her back to the party, and in next to no time she had carried him across the way to where his friends' birthday celebrations were underway. It was only a very short journey for Fenella, and took her only 2 minutes to walk there. But for the snail, that would have been a very long journey indeed. He would have definitely missed the party if it weren't for Fenella helping him out. She also helped a mouse called Millie carry her shopping home. Fenella was turning into somewhat of a taxi for the smaller animals of the forest, and she loved it. She finally felt like she had a purpose. The other unicorns might be able to help the larger animals of the forest, but Fenella could help the smaller ones that everyone else had forgotten about. They needed help just as much as the big animals. Fenella returned home to the meadow that evening with a new spring in her step. She told her mother all about the animals she had helped that day, and her mother couldn't have been prouder. And when Fenella bumped into her friends Zelda, Flynn, and Aslan, she stopped them in their tracks as they tried to apologize for leaving her behind. If they hadn't gone on ahead, then she never would have discovered what she could do and found her own path. She was grateful to them for giving her the chance to join them. From then on, Fenella's main unicorn duties became helping out the small animals of Sleepy Forest, while the bigger unicorns raced around in a mad dash, assisting the giant animals, as they always did. Fenella took her time tending to the tiny animals that everyone else had forgotten about. Everyone admired Fenella for her forward thinking and care. The small animals were all very grateful for her, and the larger unicorns were all very impressed by her. Fenella didn't let her miniature size hold her back from finding her purpose. She just had to make her own path and get to know her own strengths rather than striving to match others. Fenella, the tiny unicorn, had never felt prouder to be exactly who she was. Even small creatures can make a big impact in their own way. Now we're floating into a deep and peaceful sleep. Feel how your muscles are relaxing. Your arms are heavy and your legs are too, as they loosen and release any tension remaining from the day. Feel how you let your body fall into the cozy warmth of your bed. Close your eyes. Let your eyelids be heavy. Breathe deeply. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out as you continue to breathe deeply, and as you keep feeling how your body becomes soft and heavy with sleep. Let your mind drift away. That is the wonderful secret about sleep. While your body rests, lying heavily in your bed, your mind is set free, like a bird taking flight from a branch and flying up and up and up into the air. Feel how your mind loosens now, like a balloon that has been untied from a fence, and floats up and up and up like a bird. Up and up and up it floats towards the sky until it reaches up into the clouds. Imagine that you have risen up high above the world and your head has poked up through the clouds. Then spread out all around you in the silvery moonlight, white fluffy clouds that look like cotton wool or marshmallows. They look so soft and squishy you can lie back on them and roll around in them. Try it now. Lie back in the soft cradle of the clouds. Feel how they swirl and wrap around your body, holding you gently in the world of sleep. Clouds come in all shapes and sizes. Some are big and fluffy, some are slender wisps. Some look like puffy mushrooms, and others look like paintbrush strokes that have been left on the dark sky. Let your body relax. Let your mind relax too. let your mind float off into sleep. You are peaceful. You are safe. You are being held in the cozy warmth of sleep. With your eyes closed, let your mind drift up, up, up and away. In the world of dreams, you can go anywhere you like. You can float on blue oceans with ripples and tufts of waves. Or you can visit castles built in the sky with spiraling turrets and drawbridges over sparkling moats. Or you can wander into the peaceful woods where the birds are twittering and the trees are dense with dark green leaves. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out again as you fall more deeply into your cozy sleep. And with your eyes still closed, take a look around with your mind at where your dreams have taken you. When I fall asleep, I dream that I've gone to a world high up in the clouds. Sometimes the clouds are dappled silver from the moonlight. Sometimes they're soft pink and gold, reflecting the light of the twinkling stars. What form do your dreams take? Where does your mind go when you fall asleep? Maybe in your dreams there are flocks of white fluffy sheep huddling together on the green fields. Look at the mother ewe yawn widely before she tucks her little lambs beneath her woolly fleece. Or maybe you dream of a friendly dragon, curled up with his tail wrapped around him, a little trail of clouds puffing out of his nostrils. Look, the cloud dragon is smiling at us and waving. What a friendly dragon he is. Or maybe you dream of cute puppies lying on their backs, their tongues lolling out of their mouths, their eyes closing because they've had such a long day. They look tired, and there's their papa dog, fluffy and white, padding softly over to wish the puppies good night. Up here on the sea of clouds, you can be free. Feel how light you are, weightless, floating, drifting through sleep. Feel everything heavy from the day lift off you and drift away, taken away by currents until they disappear over the bank of clouds. Any worries you have been having, watch them float away. Anything that has been weighing on your mind during the daytime, now you can let them go and watch them drift away. Your worries are not you. You are not your worries. You can let them go. Watch them float away. Now you are light as air. You are as gentle as starlight. You are as soft as the clouds. Up in the sleepy sky, everything is weightless and peaceful. The clouds stretch out like a sea of tranquility. Close your eyes and feel the clouds wrap around you. Feel them bearing your body gently into the land of sleep. Feel your eyes close. Feel them rest heavily as your body relaxes into sleep. Feel your mind lighten. Feel it loosen and drift away, light as a feather, soft as the clouds. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. The world of clouds is waiting for you. Let yourself fall into the clouds' soft, warm hug. They are here to protect you. They are here to cushion you. They are here to hold you as you enjoy your deep and peaceful sleep. Sleep well, little one. Sleep well in the land of clouds. Feel how light you are. Feel how weightless, floating, drifting through sleep, light as air, gentle as starlight, soft as clouds. Good night, little one. Sleep